everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the fantastic, amazing, incredible new Terminator Librarian, who is brought to us now as part of the Leviathan box set, sent to me early by Games Workshop to build up and paint for all of you, and that is exactly what we're doing. And so we're just going to jump in and start painting him. He has been primed in Grey Seer, and yes, this is a Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and your eyes do not deceive you. The first colour we're going to be using is Kantor Blue, which is a base paint, and we're going to be applying this over the top of all of our Terminator's armour. Now the reason for this is that to get the darkness of the blue armour that we're after, it would take several layers of contrast paint, and well, I want to keep things nice and simple and effective for all of you. So we're going to start off with the Kantor Blue, and it might take 2 thin coats to get a nice clean coverage of this all over, but that's okay if it does, don't worry. We're also going to apply this over the top of all of the runes and things. Now the only place we're going to avoid is this large panel here on the shoulder, because that's our chapter icon. That's where your chapter icon heraldry would go, and because this gentleman is going to be a blood angel, it means it's going to be red. So we're just going to avoid it for now. So with all of that Kantor Blue applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts contrast medium to 1 part Leviadon Blue mix, and we're going to apply this over the top, and it's going to give us this really wicked, very dark blue, which is perfect for what we want for this guy. Just whilst we're waiting for all that to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Baal Red, and we're going to apply this over this section on the shoulder. Still waiting for things to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of the soft joints in the armour and the casing of the Stormbolter. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Imperial Fist, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our large ribbed cables. So with that now done and drying, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde, and I'm going to apply this over the top of all the parchment. Like that. And I'm going to apply this over the skull. Set there in the middle. So with that skeleton horde all applied, we're then going to take Flesh Tearers Red. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of our wax seals. Like so. And over the top of all of our remaining cables. And with that now done, we're then going to take some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to apply this over the top of his face. So with that now done, we're going to then take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the top of the book or satchel which contains a book. And so with that now done, we're then going to take some Basilicanum Grey. I'm going to apply this over the Crux Terminatus on the shoulder. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and we're going to apply this over the top of pretty much all of the decorative elements on the Librarian himself. Now we are just going to avoid the force axe for the moment. Because we will need to do some slightly more complex things to it. So I'm just going to work on him first. We'll get to it, of course. So with all that Retributor Armour applied, I'm then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our remaining details on the Librarian. Not on his force axe, but on the Librarian. So with that done, we've got all of our base coats on the Librarian. We're not going to do the shading just yet because we do want to get him fully to a War Hipster Battle Ready standard. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Frostheart and we're going to apply this over the top of the blades of our axe. So with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Talassar Blue. I'm going to apply this over the top. Of the axe, like this sort of thing. So with that now done, we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Akhelian Green, and we're going to add in a little bit of blending here on the axe. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start in here, and we're going to apply this like so. Then we're going to wash the brush. And we're just going to smooth it out. Then we're going to do some more going across the middle part of the blade. Like this. Wash the brush. And then smooth it out. Like that. We're going to do a little bit more towards the bottom in this corner, like that. Wash the brush, smooth out. And then we're going to do some around the base of the back part of the blade, like so. Wash the brush. And then smooth it out. And then we're going to rinse and repeat that twice more over the top of those areas. So with that Akhelian Green and Contrast Medium mix applied 3 times, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Terradon Turquoise. You don't need very much at all here. You want to apply this just like this to the darkest little patches. There's lots and lots of tiny little brush strokes with not very much paint on your brush. And if you need to, you can wash the brush and very quickly just get in there, then move it off. Just like that. So with that now done, we can leave the axe alone for a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to finishing the rest of our base coat. So we're going to once again take some Retributor Armour. I'm going to paint this over the Librarius symbol just up here, as well as the rune or rune shaped device on the axe itself. With that Retributor Armour applied, we're then going to take some Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over the remaining areas on the Force Axe. So with that, all of our base coats are now on the Librarian, so it's time to add some shades. And the first one is going to be a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Blood Angels Red. And we're going to use this over the top of all of our red details. So we're going to include this armor panel here. We're going to include the Purity seals and the red cables as well. And the soft wrap of the Force Axe. And with that done, we're then going to take some Casandora Yellow. I'm going to use this to shade all of the yellow. With the Casandora Yellow applied, we're then going to take Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the gold, and we're going to apply this over the top of his face. Just to add a little bit more colour into his cheeks. And with that Reikland Fleshshade applied, we're then going to add some Nuln Oil. I'm going to apply this over top of all of the silver. So with that done, our Librarian is now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave him there. No, we're going to take him to the next level, and we're going to do this by adding some highlights and a little recess layering. So that's exactly what we're going to start with. And the colour that we're going to be using is some Baharroth Blue. I'm going to thin it down with sort of 7 or 8 parts water, so it's really thin. And what we're going to do is we're going to start applying this to the recesses on all the armour, where all of those psychic channels and runes and things are. just like this sort of thing. So with that Baharroth Blue all applied to all of those psychic-y recesses, as you can see, he's looking pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some white scar, and once again I'm going to thin it down with sort of 3 or 4 parts water, quite a lot, so it's really, really runny, so you can see there. And we're going to add a little dot of it right in the middle of each of the nodes. Like so. And then we're going to take most of it off our brush. We don't want very much at all here. And we're going to run a little bit of this around areas that kind of intersect with each other in all the psychic-y. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Frostheart. And we're basically going to apply this over the top of all of our psychic stuff. You don't have to be super neat or anything, as this won't change the makeup of the armor color underneath it. What it will do is it'll just tie all of our glow stuff together quite nicely. As you can see, I'm not being too neat with it. So with that now done, most of our psychic-iness is finished. It's looking pretty cool. However, it might be looking a little bit weird to you because we haven't done the actual edges of the armor, and that's exactly what we're going to move on to now. Now the color we're going to be using first for this is some thinned down Alaitoc Blue. And what we're just going to do here is we're just going to start picking out all of the edges of the armour. Just like this. So with all of those Alaitoc Blue highlights applied, what we're now going to do is take some Hoeth Blue, and we're going to use this on the sharpest areas. Of all the armour. Add a little bit of extra light and shine and sheen to all of our armour. So with that Hoeth Blue all applied, the armour is all finished. So what we're going to do is move on to highlighting the axe so we can get all of the blue out of the way. And the colour that we're going to use first is some Temple Guard Blue. And with that Temple Guard Blue applied, we're then going to take Baharroth Blue once again, and we're going to use this to add a little bit more sharpness to the blade. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this along the cutting edge of the blade, like that sort of thing. I'm going to do it on both cutting edges. And then on the rest of the edges, we're not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to come at it like this. So just kind of pick a point at which to start. And then just do about a third. Maybe a half. And then finally, just to finish off the axe, I'm going to take some thinned down white scar. I'm going to add this as a little hot spot, a little spot highlight. Just picking out the sharpest points, like that. So with that now done, the axe head is finished, so we can move on to the rest of the colours. No more blue, promise. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the black, and the colour we're going to be using for this is some thinned down Dawnstone. What we're also going to do with the Dawnstone is we're going to effectively relayer the Crux Terminatus. This will just add some consistency to the colour. and just smooth it out a little bit. But first things first, I'm going to highlight the black. With that Dawnstone applied, we're then going to take some Administratum Grey. I'm going to add this as a little spot highlight to the sharpest corners on areas like our Storm Bolter. Like that sort of thing. And we're going to use this to also highlight our Crux Terminators. So with that done, the black details are now finished, so we're going to take some Wild Rider Red, and we're going to use this to highlight the red. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all the gold. Shocking, I know. With that gold done, we're then going to take some Bloodreaver Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight our satchel. And so with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all the silver using some thinned down Ironbreaker. And with that done, it is now time to work on the face. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion, and I didn't realise this at the time, but he does have a moustache. So we're going to apply some Black Legion over the top of his moustache. Like that. And I'm going to take a really small amount and apply this over the top of his eyeballs. And so with that then done, we're going to take a really tiny amount of Temple Guard Blue. I'm going to apply this across the middle of his eyes. And with that then done, we want to take a really teeny tiny little dot of white scar, and you want to apply that right in the middle of the eyeball, just like that. So with that then done, we want to take a little bit of Frostheart, and you want to apply this around the eye. And with that now done, we want to take some Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight his skin. Just like this sort of thing. And so with that then done, we're going to take a little bit of Administratum Grey. And I'm going to use this to highlight his moustache. And with that, the face is now finished, so we're going to take some Screaming Skull, and we're going to use this to highlight the parchment. And so for our final flourish, and this can be entirely optional if you want it to be, is we're going to take some Cygor Brown. I'm going to use this to add some writing on our parchment by just adding some little squiggly lines. Like this, all the way up. And so, with our base complete in the same style as the rest of my Blood Angels, this Terminator Librarian is now finished, ready to lead probably a unit of Terminators with his psychic might. And it's an absolutely stunning addition to the Warhammer 40,000 range, and Space Marines of course in particular. Absolutely slots into every Space Marine army and is very dynamic, very cool, and very, very much full of presence. He's a hefty boy, like he's proper hefty. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster, just like these bosses have done, scrolling up on the screen before you, whose continued support helps me continue to make all the wonderful content that you enjoy. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button on the channel page or just below this video, like these wonderful, amazing people have done. And if you really like this video and you just want to shoot me a little thanks, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.